In this video, we're diving into the symptoms of a bad manifold absolute pressure, or MAP sensor. The manifold absolute pressure sensor works with intake air pressure to define proper air and fuel quantities required for the ignition cylinders. The MAP sensor measures the vacuum of the intake manifold, which fluctuates according to engine load relative to the barometric pressure. The MAP sensor provides real-time data to the engine's electronic control unit by monitoring the manifold pressure. This information, combined with inputs from other sensors such as the mass airflow sensor and the throttle position sensor, enables the ECU to calculate the density of the air entering the engine. This data is crucial for determining the optimal timing for injector opening and adjusting the spark advance, ultimately ensuring that the engine maintains the ideal air-fuel ratio of 14.5:1 for efficient combustion and performance. The manifold absolute pressure sensor is commonly positioned on the intake manifold, often near or directly on the throttle body. In the case of engines equipped with forced induction, such as turbocharged engines, the MAP sensor may be situated along the intake tract before the turbocharger. A malfunctioning MAP sensor can manifest in various symptoms, indicating potential issues with the vehicle's engine performance. Let's explore the symptoms of a bad manifold absolute pressure sensor one by one. The number one symptom is illuminated. Check engine light. A malfunctioning MAP sensor can trigger the check engine light to illuminate on the dashboard. The number two symptom is error codes. Malfunctioning MAP may trigger the OBD2 code related to a bad MAP upon scanning. Later in this video, we'll discuss common trouble codes associated with a bad MAP sensor. The number three symptom is rough running or hesitation. With a faulty MAP sensor, the engine control module may not receive necessary sensor data related to the vacuum of the intake manifold to maintain the air-fuel ratio at 14.7:1. This can result in rough running or hesitation, impacting the engine's overall performance. The number four symptom is visible exhaust emissions. Visible exhaust emissions may be observed while driving due to a lean or rich air-fuel mixture resulting from the faulty MAP sensor. The number five symptom is engine stalling. Intermittent engine stalling may occur due to a faulty MAP sensor. The sixth symptom is lack of power. Lack of power during acceleration may occur due to the faulty MAP, which affects the engine air intake system, leading to inadequate or excessive air supply to the engine. The seventh symptom is poor fuel efficiency. Inefficient fuel consumption may be observed as a symptom of the faulty MAP, as it affects the proper regulation of the air-fuel ratio due to the absence of sensor data. This can result in the wastage or improper utilization of fuel. A malfunctioning MAP sensor can trigger OBD2 codes. Here are some common error codes related to a bad MAP sensor. Number one, P0068, which indicates MAP-MAF, throttle position correlation. Number two, P0069, which indicates manifold absolute pressure, barometric pressure correlation. Number three, P0105, which indicates MAP circuit malfunction. Number four, P0106, which indicates MAP barometric pressure circuit range or performance problem. Number five, P0107, which indicates manifold absolute pressure, barometric pressure circuit, low input. Number six, P0108, which indicates manifold absolute pressure, barometric pressure circuit, high input. Number seven, P0109, which indicates manifold absolute pressure, barometric pressure circuit, intermittent. To diagnose the faulty MAP sensor issue, you need to ensure that a faulty MAP sensor is the root cause. To confirm the MAP sensor is functioning properly, the MAP sensor needs to be tested. There are different ways to test a MAP sensor. The first test method is to check voltage using multimeter. In this method, we measure the voltage of the MAP sensor output using a multimeter. The sensor's power supply is provided with the car ignition in the on position. Follow these steps to test correctly in this method. The first step is to set the multimeter to voltage mode. Then connect the red probe to the signal wire of the map sensor connector. Remember, the signal wire is usually the one in the middle, but it's always a good idea to double check with your vehicle's wiring diagram to be sure. Now take the black probe of your multimeter and connect it to a reliable ground point, like the battery negative terminal or the engine block. Next, turn on the ignition key without starting the engine. This allows power to flow through the map sensor for testing while keeping the engine off. Finally, check the voltage reading on the multimeter. Typically, the voltage should read between 0.5 and 1.5 volts. If the voltage falls outside of this range, it indicates a faulty map sensor that needs replacement. The second test method is to check resistance using a multimeter. In this method, we measure the resistance of the map sensor. Follow these steps to test correctly in this method. The first step is to switch the multimeter to the resistance mode. The second step is to connect the probes of the multimeter to the power and ground wires of the map sensor connector. Typically, the power wire is red and the ground wire is black, but refer to the wiring diagram to confirm. The third step is to ensure that the ignition key is turned off to prevent any electrical interference. The fourth step is to measure the resistance between the power and ground wires. The multimeter should typically read between 200 and 600 ohms. If the resistance falls outside of this range, it indicates a faulty map sensor that requires replacement. When a car exhibits the symptoms mentioned above, and the map sensor has been checked and found to be in working order, but the issue persists, it's essential to inspect the other components of the air intake monitoring system that exhibit the same symptoms of bad map sensor. Issue number 1 is the faulty mass airflow sensor. A defective map sensor can produce similar symptoms to those of a bad MAF sensor. The MAF sensor is responsible for measuring the mass of incoming air and plays a crucial role in determining the air-fuel mixture ratio. The number 2 issue is a faulty throttle position sensor. A malfunctioning TPS sensor can also present symptoms resembling those of a faulty MAF sensor. The TPS sensor monitors the position of the throttle plate and sends signals to the engine control unit to regulate fuel delivery and ignition timing.